Hey guys and gals, this is Steve with Your Contracting Business. This is my YouTube channel, and you can also check me out at www.yourcontractingbusiness.com. Yeah, that site is under construction right now, so it'll be up here eventually, and there'll be some great stuff on that when it's up. I will definitely keep you guys informed on when and how you can check that out. So on my channel, we are going to talk about ways to make you more money, and we're going to talk about ways which there's many ways to do that. There's also ways to help eliminate those working for those headache customers, those customers that are the squeaky wheel and they always need greased. You guys all know what I'm talking about. We can't eliminate them, but we can sure minimize our chances of having to deal with them on a regular basis. We want to make sure and just eliminate them altogether. So we need to put ourselves in a position to where we have our communication set up, and we basically have a system in place. I mean, it's all about having a great system in place. And so we don't have to deal with that. They're squeaky customers that cause you stress and headaches. They're not worth it. They are emotionally and financially draining, and they can just cause a lot of problems for you. They can cause they do cause you a lot of stress, and that can end up turning into health problems. And we're not in business to have the stresses of headache customers. So anyways, if you haven't done so already, if you could, of course, I hope you guys are going to enjoy what's on this channel and this video. If you can please click on the button below on subscribe and subscribe to my channel, and then give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Comments, comment below. Tell me what you like or don't like throughout this video. So we're going to dive right into it, and we're going to talk about ways to make you more money. Number one is getting paid before you even step foot on your potential customer's property. And what I mean by that is, normally how the process goes is you receive a phone call, and the person on the other end will say, "Hey, I have this job. Can you do this for me?" And you will say either yes or no. And the next question might be, "Well, can you come and take a look at it?" Or you'll say, "What is your address?" And you'll go and take a look at the job. Normally, whatever from that phone call to when you go and look at their project is more or less going to be unpaid time, especially if you do not land the job. So we want to make sure and understand what is an estimate. An estimate is a professionally educated guess on what a project is going to be. And so we as professionals, as the experts, kind of have a good idea of what a project might consist of and what the costs are going to be. So you want to make sure and educate your customers on what an estimate is. If you take it a step further, and if you're compiling a bunch of numbers and specific, if you're writing up a bid that has more accurate numbers, and you have to call the city or the county to get information from them, and call your subcontractors and get pricing from them, and your vendors for material pricing, that is going to be considered a proposal, and you need to be getting paid for that. So make sure have things in order and educate your customers between an estimate and a proposal. And let's try to make the shift this to where we can educate our customers to know the difference between an estimate and a proposal. And then the next way is on consulting. They might have questions on how to do something, and you as the expert, the professional, if they're asking you questions that are in your field, that really turns into a consulting fee. And these are things that we have been giving away for free in the past, and we just need to make sure and value our time. And so if what's worse, not getting paid for it, or for somebody saying no and not being able to go to their project and getting paid for it, which there might be a good chance to where they wouldn't even hire you in the first place. They could be price shopping. Or if they say no, you just go on to the next thing. So there's nothing bad can come from it. Why would you want to spend your time, basically your time and fuel, and not get paid for something that you should? So let's make sure and understand between estimates, proposals, and consulting. Educate our customers, and a lot of times when you explain it to them properly, they will have this aha moment, and it will all make sense to them. So don't think that this is going to be a huge. Don't think it is going to be something that they are going to shoot down. When I first started changing my ways, I was a little apprehensive. Once you start doing it more, it becomes a little more natural, and then you realize, like, wow, people will pay for this, and it makes you, it puts more confidence in you. And if you have more confidence, you're able to sell the jobs better, and then we understand that we are the experts and not them. They're calling us for a project. So let's just make sure and let's make sure and communicate well, and let's make sure and get paid before we step foot on customers' jobs. So the second way is a little bit more of an indirect way. I'll talk briefly about this because there's going to be, more than likely, there's going to be a course on this topic, and it is recognizing red flags. We all know what I'm talking about, the red flags. We try to brush them off sometimes, thinking that, that's nothing to really worry about. Well, if we get into a job and they keep coming up, and then we go sideways in that project, there's a good chance that we have no desire to be there. The customers are being a pain, and it can be draining. So we need to make sure and be able to recognize those red flags. If you think something is a little stinky, it probably is. So let's get rid of the stinkiness. Sometimes we believe that we are obligated to take on every job that comes our way. Even if somebody is referred to us, that does not mean that that's going to be a good fit. So if something doesn't feel right, focus your energy on another job, on marketing yourself, on going out there and looking for other work. And let's just get rid of those jobs that don't feel right. It's not worth it to you. It's not worth it to your customers or your family. It's not worth the stress when you have those jobs that are troublesome. It's draining on you and your family. Sometimes that can create problems at home, and let's just try to. I'm here to help you guys figure this out. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but I think that we can do a lot of great things together. Remember, when we eliminate those red flags, we have more time and energy to look for those next jobs. We have more time to, probably because we're eliminating that stress, we probably have more time to spend with our family, if you work out, which I would highly recommend exercise in some form. It definitely is great for the body and the mind. So anyways, there's going to be, like I say, more to come on that in the future. Stay tuned, and that will be up when the website gets up. I will have a course on that. All right, the next one is figuring out your profit. That's another great way to make more money. It sounds simple, right? And some of you are probably like, well, what's profit? Well, we all should be making profit on jobs. If we don't, then we are putting ourselves into a position to where we're driving ourselves out of business. So if you are having a hard time thinking to yourself, well, I'm not sure if I am profitable, then there's just we just start now. Just start now on your current jobs. Make sure and record all your expenses, record your time at the end of the job, figure out what you had into it, and then we'll be able to figure out ways to make sure if you had extra money. I mean, and this is after you pay yourself as well. You got to make sure and pay yourself. So we need to make sure to have money on after everything is paid. Whatever's left over would be considered your profit, and that's what's going to drive you and your business. That's what's going to you have other hopes and dreams in the future, and you want to make sure and be able to provide your family with that. And if you're doing work for wages, stop doing that. Whatever your price is right now, there's a good chance, or whatever you're charging your customers right now, there's a good chance that you're probably too low and you need to up it. So don't underestimate your worth. Remember, you are the expert in the field, and once you start figuring out what jobs you do, and you might take the bottom two jobs the tasks that you do, and if they're not, drop those bottom two jobs. So if you do, let's say you do 6 different types of work, if those, take the bottom two and then this might be difficult for some people, but just take the bottom 2 jobs that are the least profitable and eliminate those. Let somebody else who is more expert in the field than you are take those jobs and focus on the ones you make more money at. That's a great way to make more money, is to eliminate the ones you don't make money in or as much and focus on the ones that you do. So that is figuring out your profit. I think this one goes back to the figuring out the profit is organizing your receipts. Make sure everything's organized. It's easier to invoice your customers. It's easier to know where you're at, where your bank account's at. If you're recording stuff accurately, it's just if you're more organized, you're going to be more efficient, and if you're more efficient, you're going to be your jobs are going to be running more smoothly. So anyways, organize those receipts. There's 2 more things I want to talk about. The next one is change orders. I don't know any job that in somehow, some way has a change in it. A change order is associated with it. And when the scope of the original project is changed, that's classified as a change order. And we want to make sure and be getting paid for those changes. That takes work on your end, from the proposal to the signing the contract, and communicating clearly with your customer on that. If things are out of the scope, if something changes out of the scope of what you originally, what the proposal stated, then that would be classified as a change order. And make sure and be getting paid for them. We've all been there. We've all done work for free, and one thing leads, if we do something small for free, then it leads to something else that we do on the job that we don't charge for, and something else. And by the time we know it, we've done a half a day's worth of work that we didn't get paid for because we did not take the correct steps and educate our customers and have a process in place to be getting to a process in place that is going to make our operation move or operation operate more smoothly. So let's make sure in change orders that we have a sample form in our bid packet, or our proposal packet. And I hate the word, well, we'll cover that later too. We're going to talk about the word budget later on in the future. So I don't quite like that word. I think there's a better word for that. We will cover that here soon. So change orders are very important. If we do something extra, we need to be getting paid for it. If it's a small change order, try to get paid for that up front before you start the work. So when when a job or when a item gets changed, it could mean that it's probably going to stop production right then. You want to make sure and stop, and so if you're going to be stopping work for that day to write something up, you need to be getting paid for it. So that's going to be where your minimum fee per change order comes in. So a customer will know that if they change something, that there's a minimum fee plus whatever they want to change. So it could go backwards. It could give them a credit, or it costs the customer more. But either way, work has stopped for the day, or until you figure out what that change is going to consist of. So let's make sure and be getting paid for our change orders. Actually, they're not our change orders; they're the customer's change orders, and we want to make sure and be doing those correctly. So make sure and have a form. I'll also have a form included on my site here eventually for change orders, and it'll be something just good to have in your job packet, and we can talk about job packets later on. So the last way to make more money is to, before you start, after you have generated a proposal, and remember, on a proposal, you are going to figure out what you need to charge for your time. There might be jobs that are smaller that may not take as much time, so you might charge a customer as much. If you have a larger scope of project, it'll take more time. Make sure and figure out what that needs to be for yourself. But if you are awarded the job, you would be taking that money off of the back end. So they're not paying, they're paying up front for it. But this is if for some reason you don't get the work, or the award, or you're not awarded the job, that proposal is for them. So they've paid you for a service, and then you would provide them with a proposal that would kind of break down their job a little bit, not in too much detail, because remember, the information that we have in our business is proprietary, so we don't want to be giving away too much. We don't want to be giving away our secrets in the trade, and they're not secrets in a bad way. But we do business certain ways, and if we allow other people to understand how we are operating, those are ways to where it can work against us. And we just want to make sure and be keeping every business has proprietary information. You're not going to call up a business and they're not going to tell you their secrets. So let's not see it's just how they operate. So make sure, and first of all, I kind of got a little sidetracked, but let's collect the money up front on our jobs. So like I said, after we do the whole proposal, signing the contract, before we start work, before you put this job on the schedule, we want to make sure, and you want to make sure and collect a payment, a deposit before you start. Do not put the customer on the schedule until you've received payment and the check has been deposited and it's cleared. Then you can move on to the next step and put them on the schedule. So we want to make sure and have that revenue stream coming in. If the revenue is not coming in, then we are shooting ourselves in the foot and we are setting ourselves up for failure. And that's why I'm here to help you guys. We don't want that. And so, and then just a little tip: try to collect as much as you can up front. To get on the schedule, depending on the size of the job, but you probably want to try to have it about, I try to have half collected up front before I start a job. And that is just a good way, and then make sure you bill and you invoice frequently as the job progresses. So you want to have as little as, you have a responsibility to start the job and to complete it. Make sure that you are, that you yourself are following good standards by communicating with their customer and doing the work on time, and then make sure to invoice your customers. And let's fix this problem of shooting ourselves in the foot and doing work for free. Let's get more money collected out there. And these are not ways that you're gouging your customer. These are just things that we're already doing that we need to be getting paid for. So again, thank you for watching this video. I hope you got something out of it. Make sure and click subscribe below and leave me any comments, thumbs up, thumbs down, what you liked, what you didn't. And I'm here to grow too with you guys. So give me some feedback, and you guys have a great day, and we will see you here on the next video. All right, thanks, bye.